All right, Walter Wofford back. We got another step in our STR cash flow roadmap. Today, very important piece I want to tell you about if you're going to scale your business. Think about this question. Is it easier to operate one property or 10 properties? And my answer is 10 properties is the answer. The reason is you got to put people in place, a team to do it. Every step of the way, you got to build systems and use technology. Today, for example, I got to the point where I wanted to clone myself and what I do in the business, and I hired a Filipino VA who has 3 years corporate Airbnb experience. So I thought he'd be a good guy to bring on my team, and he's a full-time employee. So this tool today I'm going to tell you about is Turno, and it's a piece of technology that manages the cleaning and recruiting for cleaners too. And so we picked up another cleaner actually this week. They're going to have our first job tomorrow. All right, they have checklists, and within the checklist, you decide what you want evidence of. So if you want a picture of the bed after they've made it, that's part of the routine. It's very good. It's very inexpensive. And so you can use your same cleaners that you already have, or you may, when you scale, you're going to have more anyway. Okay, so if you'd like to see our properties, pull out your camera on the QR code and follow it to our Mississippi Short Stay Rentals.com. Take a look at it. Now, as always, Bill and Judy, my AI team, are part of this content creation and content delivery. They do a great job. All right, Turno today.
So you've got a short-term rental, right? Maybe one, maybe two. Things probably feel well manageable. You're likely using something pretty simple like Google Calendar, maybe shooting texts off to your cleaner. You might even have a physical checklist stuck on the fridge, something like that. Feels like you've got a handle on it. But then if you're aiming to grow, like the scenario in the material we're looking at, you start adding properties. Suddenly it's 5, 10, maybe 20 units. And they're not always next door. They could be across town, different cities even. And that simple system you had, well, the source material calls that point hitting a logistics nightmare. And you know what that really means? Day to day. Trying to coordinate checkouts and check-ins, multiple properties, super tight turnover windows, it becomes a scramble. Just finding reliable cleaners. And not just tidy up cleaners, but people who get your standards, your brand. How do you even check quality when you can't physically be there? And what about those last-minute booking changes? They always happen. Or guest requests that just throw a wrench in the schedule. And then there's the whole back-end headache, managing payments, making sure the checklist was actually followed, getting proof the job was done right. It's a lot. This is exactly where, as the source makes incredibly clear, growth doesn't just slow down. It often just stops, grinds to a halt, missed cleanings, or just bad ones. They lead straight to poor reviews. And bad reviews mean fewer bookings. Fewer bookings, well, you're stuck. So this operational bottleneck, specifically around those cleaning turnovers, that's the core pain point we're diving into today, understanding it and, according to the source, overcoming it.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is how this material frames that challenge. It's basically the line dividing a hobby host from a professional operator.
Yeah.
It says delivering hotel-level cleanliness consistently with that vacation rental flexibility. That's the mark of a pro. And this document really highlights that a dedicated tool isn't just like nice to have. It says it's critical. Absolutely critical for solving this number one scaling issue, that turnover coordination piece.
Right. And the specific tool that this material puts forward as, well, essential for breaking through that roadblock is Turno.
Yeah.
Used to be called Turnover B&B. So our mission here today is to really dig into what Turno actually is, how this source material explains the way it works, and why it's presented as such a key part of the puzzle for getting past that struggle to scale phase and actually doing it effectively in your STR business. Let's jump right in then. Based on this source, what exactly is Turno?
That's core. Okay, so the material describes Turno as an all-in-one cleaning management platform. And it really stresses that it was built specifically for vacation rentals. It's not some generic scheduler, It's designed for the unique quirks of STRs, those tight turns, the often unpredictable schedules. And the document lists out its main functions, covering that whole turnover cycle. It starts with automatically syncing up with your booking calendars. They mentioned Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, others too. That sync is fundamental. because it instantly creates a cleaning job for every single checkout. No more manually entering dates or forgetting one. Then, once the job exists, it helps get a cleaner assigned. You can bring your own team onto the platform, manage them there. Or, and this is really important for scaling, you can tap into Turno's built-in cleaner marketplace. Find vetted professionals in specific locations. And for quality. It uses detailed checklists, you can add instructions, require photos as proof of work, and finally it automates payments. There's a pre-fronted wallet system, pays the cleaner automatically once the job's done and checked off.
Wow, okay. So it really is end-to-end. Connects the booking to the job, finds the person, tells them exactly what to do, confirms it's done, pays them, all in one place. That makes sense why the source calls it all-in-one.
Yeah.
And the main benefit highlighted seems to be making that whole cleaning turnover process repeatable, trackable, and genuinely scalable, whether it's 3 units or like 30 across different states.
Exactly. That repeatability, that trackability, that's what you absolutely need when you can't be everywhere at once.
Right. Okay, so building on that, what are the specific features this material points to, the ones that are really powerful for scaling the business? What makes it more than just, a scheduler?
All right, so the document dives into several features. It says really unlock that growth potential. First up is that auto-scheduling through calendar sync. The source actually calls this the set it and forget it feature. Because it reads your calendars in real time, it just automatically generates those cleaning projects the moment a booking is confirmed. Triggers a job for the checkout date.
Yeah.
Just think about the sheer volume of manual scheduling texts, emails, calls, and the potential for error that this cuts out as you add more properties. Then there's the cleaner marketplace access. This is huge, especially if you're expanding geographically into new cities or states. Instead of needing boots on the ground in a new place trying to find cleaners, the marketplace lets you search by zip code. You find pros who are already vetted. You can see their profiles, reviews from other hosts, check their pricing, availability. You can even do interviews or ask for a trial clean, all through the platform. The material is pretty clear. This is invaluable for scaling into new markets without having to be there yourself.
Okay. That remote hiring piece sounds massive.
Definitely. And then the visual checklists and photo verification. This is a game changer for quality control when you're scaling up. You can create super detailed, customized checklists, property by property or maybe by unit type. Room by room, specific instructions, even example photos of how you want things to look. And crucially, you can require cleaners to upload photos before and after shots of specific areas, bathrooms, kitchens, beds. This creates real accountability and lets you audit the quality remotely from anywhere.
So you can actually see the work was done to standard.
Exactly. And you can customize these checklists too. Different ones for standard turnover versus a deep clean, or if there was a pest day. Even add restocking reminders. Then there's the in-app cleaner communication. This pulls all the job-related chat out of scattered texts and emails and into one place, tied to the specific job or property. You get real-time alerts if a job's running late or if the cleaner reports an issue. Sending updates is easy. And importantly, all the messages are logged, which is great for accountability, audits, just keeping track of everything. And finally, the automated cleaner payments. You basically top up a secure wallet in the system. Turno then automatically pays the cleaner once the job is marked complete and, any required tasks like photo uploads are done. The source highlights a couple of benefits here. It simplifies your payment reconciliation, obviously, but it also really helps with cleaner loyalty and retention. They know they'll get paid promptly, reliably through the system. Plus, it helps with their tax docs, like generating 1099s or payout summaries.
That whole package of features, it really does sound designed to take the chaos out of the process and, structure it, systematize it. This material also lays out a specific, 5-step process for setting up a new property in Turno, a repeatable flow. Can you walk us through how that's described?
Yeah, absolutely. The document presents this 5-step flow as the way to build that scalable system for every new unit you bring on board, so you're not reinventing the wheel each time. Step 1, sync your booking calendar. This is job 1. The foundation for automating everything.
Yeah.
You connect all your calendars, Airbnb, VRBO, your PMS maybe. The platform then scans for those checkout dates and automatically triggers a cleaning job for each one. That's the set it and forget it starting point.
Got it. Connect the source of the work first.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Step 2, add or assign a cleaner.
Yeah.
Okay, now you need someone to actually do the cleaning for this new property. If you already have a cleaner you like for that area, you just invite them into your Turno account. If not, this is where you jump into that marketplace we talk about. Browse profiles, check reviews, maybe do a quick interview call. Once you've picked someone, you assign them to that specific property. You can set their preferences too, like maybe they only work certain days or have a maximum number of jobs they'll take.
Okay, so find the person, link them to the property.
Yep. Step 3, Build a project template. This is where you embed your quality standards. You create a custom checklist, really detailed, probably per unit type, or maybe even per specific property if they're unique. This includes all your instructions, your brand stuff like how towels should be folded, right?
Yeah.
Where supplies go. You can add reference images, and critically specify which photos you require the cleaner to upload as proof. This template becomes the standard guide for cleaning this property every single time.
The blueprint for the clean.
Precisely. Step 4. Automate communication. Now you set up the comms rules. Configure automated job reminders for your cleaner maybe 24 hours before, 48 hours before. You can also add specific notes to a job ticket like, hey, the last guest had a dog, pay extra attention to the sofa, things like that. And of course, the in-app messaging is always there for any urgent, real-time stuff during the turnover itself. And step 5, set payment rules. Last step. You define how much you're paying for this property's cleaning, the price for a standard turnover, maybe different rates for deep cleans or mid-stay touch-ups. The material even mentions you could potentially set up, like surge pricing for same-day turns or holidays to incentivize cleaners. Then you just make sure your wallet is funded and the system handles the payout automatically when the job's done.
Going through those 5 steps for each new property, yeah, I can see how that creates the system that scales the source keeps talking about. Takes you out of that constant micromanagement loop. Okay, so you've got the system for setup and scheduling. But scaling, it's not just adding units, right? It's keeping that quality consistent across a bigger portfolio. How does the platform, according to this material, help you maintain that consistency when you can't physically be at every turnover?
Right. That's where those features we discussed earlier really become your tools for remote quality assurance, or PUA. The material basically argues the system shifts you from just hoping things were done right to having actual data and visuals to verify it. First, that photo documentation requirement we talked about. Insisting on specific photos from key areas, spotless kitchen counters, perfectly made beds, clean bathroom mirrors on every single job creates a consistent visual record. You can log in, quickly scan the photos for all your properties, and audit the quality remotely. Spot potential issues before the next guest even thinks about checking in.
So you catch problems proactively.
Hopefully, yes. Second, the checklists and training materials. Those standardized templates you built, they're not just job instructions. They function as visual standard operating procedures, SOPs. This is super important for training new cleaners quickly and efficiently, and for making sure all your cleaners, new or experienced, understand and follow your specific brand standards every time. It provides that consistent framework. And third, cleaner scorecards. The platform automatically tracks key performance metrics for every cleaner on your team. Things like their on-time rate for starting jobs, their completion rate for uploading the required photos, and even guest feedback specifically tagged to cleanliness. This gives you objective data. You can see who your star performers are and maybe reward them. And just as importantly, you can identify cleaners who are consistently falling short based on actual data, not just, a one-off complaint. It lets you make informed decisions about your team.
So it really moves quality control from relying on random spot checks or guest complaints to a more data-driven, systematic approach. That feels like a pretty fundamental shift. Okay, let's talk about the bottom line then, the money. How does this material connect using Turno to actual profitability and optimizing the business financially?
Yeah, the document makes a strong case that these operational improvements flow directly to the financial side. It argues that when you're scaling, every little bit of margin counts, right? Yeah. So one impact is simply more revenue per night and higher occupancy. It draws a straight line. Consistently cleaner homes lead to better guest reviews, especially regarding cleanliness. Better reviews build trust, allow you to potentially charge higher nightly rates, and they definitely boost your occupancy because your listings look more appealing and reliable. And the source emphasizes this is revenue you gain without adding more of your own manual work managing the cleaning.
Right, leveraging the system for better financial results.
Exactly. Another major benefit they quantify is the hours saved per week. The source suggests that once you got this system running smoothly, operators can save, get this, anywhere from 5 to 15 hours every single week.
Wow. 5 to 15 hours. That's significant.
It really is. Time previously spent coordinating cleanings, chasing people down, dealing with cleaning issues, handling guest complaints or refunds related to cleanliness. And the source points out that reclaimed time that can be reinvested into activities that actually grow the business, like finding and acquiring new properties, optimizing your listings, maybe building out your direct booking funnel, high-value tasks. There's also what it calls a hidden cost saver. Cleaner accountability leads to lower team turnover. Basically, cleaners who feel supported by a good system, who get clear instructions, and who are paid reliably and promptly, they're more likely to stick around.
Ah, retention. That makes sense.
Yeah, and constantly recruiting, hiring, and retraining new cleaners takes a lot of time and costs money. So keeping good cleaners reduces that churn. Plus, cleaners who know your properties inside out, who know your standards, they become more like partners. They might spot maintenance issues early, communicate proactively. It's a real asset.
And the source lists some specific metrics it says operators should track for scaling smarter. Things like job completion time, on-time job start rate, photo upload compliance, cost per turnover, and cleaner retention rate. These feel less like vanity metrics and more like strategic dials.
Absolutely. The insight there is that the platform gives you this data automatically. You move from guessing where the inefficiencies are or who your best cleaners are to knowing based on objective numbers. Job completion time tells you if a job is taking longer than expected, maybe indicating a training need or a property issue. On-time start measures reliability, photo compliance. That's your remote QA score, essentially. Cost per turnover is obviously crucial for your P&L. And cleaner retention, as we just said, is key for team health, consistency, and hidden cost savings. These metrics really empower you to make data-driven decisions about your pricing, your team, your processes, optimization, basically.
Okay. Beyond the core stuff, this material also just briefly mentions some more advanced ways that experienced operators use Turno as they really scale up.
Yeah, it touches on a few interesting scenarios, like managing multi-city portfolios, using the marketplace to build teams in different locations, but applying universal checklist templates to keep quality consistent across state lines. It also talks about integrating Turno into a wider tech stack. Mentions specific examples like linking up with Hospitable for guest comms and overall management, or RelayFi for financial management. People often use that with profit first. Or PriceLabs for dynamic pricing, making Turno part of a bigger automated ecosystem.
So it plays nice with other tools.
Seems so. It also mentions the use case for scaling as a co-host or property manager, using a master account to oversee properties for multiple owners, automating assignments, and crucially, generating reports for those owners to show the efficiency and quality you're delivering. And finally, it notes how this system supports building a direct booking brand. The argument is that consistent 5-star cleaning builds immense guest trust, which encourages repeat visits and makes guests more likely to book directly with you next time.
This has been a really clarifying deep dive, really lays out how this material presents Turno as tackling that huge scaling challenge in STRs, just getting the cleaning right consistently.
Yeah, to quickly sum it up, the core argument in this document is pretty straightforward. Cleaning and turnovers are often the biggest operational hurdle stopping STR businesses from growing effectively. Doing it manually leads to chaos, mistakes, lost revenue, burnout. And the material positions Turno, being purpose-built for STRs, as the systemic fix. It automates the whole workflow. Calendar sync, auto-scheduling, finding and managing cleaners, ensuring quality with checklists and photos, streamlining communication, automating payments, and giving you performance data. All of it.
And by putting that kind of system in place, the source argues you break through that bottleneck. You can keep standards high even remotely. You free up potentially a lot of hours each week to focus on growth. You can increase revenue through better guest experiences and reviews. And ultimately, as the material wraps up, you start to act like a professional STR operator.
That's right.
You move past those hobbyist limitations, even if you're running lean.
Exactly. The transition it describes is really about using technology to create those repeatable processes, delegate smartly, and guarantee consistency in one of the most critical guest-facing aspects of the business.
Okay, that paints a really clear picture of the problem and the solution presented in this source material. So here's maybe a final thought to leave you with, drawing from everything we've discussed here. If, as this source strongly suggests, becoming a truly professional STR operator hinges so much on automating and systematizing core tasks like cleaning, well, what other manual processes are you still doing in your business? What might be the next bottleneck that's kind of keeping you stuck in that hobby host phase, preventing further scaling? Definitely something to think about in the context of your own operations.